Well, good morning everybody, and welcome to part 3. I actually got out here about 7:30 this morning, got started, turned our pins back on. Last night before I quit, I pyrolyzed our little handful of chips, and I just wanted to show you right quick, coffee, but I just wanted to show you what I'm doing. I'm actually I crushed and sieved the ash, and that you can see those were the copper tops that were on the ones that had the copper tops. And what I'm actually doing here is I am rinsing this now. I put some Dawn in it to make it thick, and then just a little bit of water to bind all the ash together. Because if you just add water straight away, anybody who's watched one of these pyrolyzing videos and ash videos on YouTube will, I mean, there's plenty of them out there that show you how to do it. The reason I'm bringing you in on this, and not to waste time, is I am right now rinsing this. Now, we only had about 90 grams of chips. So what I'm basically doing is adding water to this, stirring it up, letting it settle down, and then pouring it off into a pour-off jar. Now, that's just ash. Okay, there shouldn't be any gold in here. If you wait enough time and let it settle down, all your bond wires and everything should settle back down in the bottom. This is what I'm talking about when I will take chips that I will take concentrated ash. This is the concentrated ash that I'm working on right now. So when I get this water to run fairly clear, after I've rinsed it several times and stirred it, that will be considered concentrated ash. Now, it's going to take me 2 hands, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this now and I'm going to pour it off into this bigger jar. And I am going to keep this for a day or two and let it settle out, make sure I didn't miss any gold. But all I do is I fill the beaker, I stir it up, I let it set for a few minutes. Or if it's a bucket, if you've got a lot of ash, just depends on how much you're processing. I was only processing 90 grams, so I just used a little beaker. But, depending on how much you're doing, naturally you can use a bigger vessel, it doesn't matter. But what I do is I fill it up, stir it up, let it set, and then I'll pour that off. And then I'll pour it halfway down. And then I'll keep doing this, and I'll keep doing this till I get a fairly clear liquid. And you can already see it's already, the ash is already showing up, or the concentrated ash is already showing up in the bottom. So we're already cleaning off a lot of that burnt ash. That is what I mean. Now when I get done, I'll show you exactly what I want this to look like when you send it to me. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I just wanted to show you, this was our drop from our processors and processor caps. I'll probably be working on that later today. Hopefully these bad boys will finish up. There was just a little bit of pins left in them, and I can get that filtered off, get them into this jar, put some aqua regia on them, and see what kind of gold we get. So I'm almost done with this, with M's job. This video should finish it up, I'm hoping. So let me get to work, and I'll get back at you when I need to show you something else. Okay guys, I've got this concentrated down. Now this is what I would consider clean ash. When you put water in it and it settles out to almost clear, or about like that, in about 30 seconds, you've pretty much gotten rid of most of that kind of stuff, the light ash. If you notice in the bottom of this jar, there is a little bit of heavies. There's going to be a little bit of heavies in all those. So what I'll do is let those sit for a day to make sure I didn't miss anything. And what I want to show you, I don't know, I'm going to try and put this on close up and see if I can show you some of the, go out in the sun, but on the top here in the very back, you'll see some copper bond wires. Hang on just a second, let me change this over. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get this so you can see over there to the left of the screen, that little bit of color in there, that's actually copper bond wires. Let me see if I can get some better light on it out here. I can get past the reflection. But you see right in there in the back, perfect reflection there, just where we can't get it. There we go. But you see those copper bond wires? I don't know if I can get any closer to that. But anyhow, what I want to show you here is the bottom. that's your gold bond wires. But right now this is clean enough. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and pour a little water in it again and rinse it one more time so I can show you how fast it needs to settle. Like I said, I'm not a great one-hander, but I'm going to give it a try. So we're at the point where we don't have a lot of soap left, so we can just do this. Alright, what I like to do is give her a stir, not so much on the bottom where you're digging in, because you've got a lot of busted up silica chips down there, and you can cut up your beakers. If you're using something you don't care about, that's a different story. But I like to do that, make sure we've tapped that off so we don't have any gold sticking to it. And you're going to see how fast this is going to settle out. I'm going to just let it go. You can see it's already starting to drop down and clear up. If it does that, you know, like within about 30 seconds, if you get to this stage, that's actually clean enough. I can rinse it again, you know, one more time or two more times once it gets here. But that is going to eliminate most of your, you know, light fluffy ash that contains nothing. Now another thing, if you'll notice on top of this, because we have pretty much rinsed all the soap out, we got a little bit of surface tension. So what I'm going to actually do one more time is I'm just going to put a little tiny bit of Dawn in here, just enough to break the surface tension, and I'm actually going to squirt that like that to make sure everything got sunk down in there. I'm going to give it one more little stir because we had some surface tension. And this is going to be ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is let it settle back out till I stop seeing a lot of movement in here. Set it up here so you can see. We'll let it start to settle out. When it starts to settle out, I know we put a little more Dawn in there so we don't have the surface tension. Get this beaker out of the way. Okay, but you can see it's starting to settle out now already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give it one more spritz on the top, just to make sure. And I'm going to pour that off. What you want to do is you want to pour this so you don't see anything coming out of the bottom. Just pour it off real slow. We're getting rid of a lot more of the heavies that are still hanging, but the main heavies are in the bottom. I don't see any of it coming forward yet. When I get down to this part, I'm going to slow down. And like I said, I'm going to let all these 3 jars sit overnight. And then I'll pour off the surface water and check the ash, any ash that's in there with my little 60 power scope, and make sure we don't have any bond wires in it. And you can see some stuff settling on the rim of the beaker now. I really need to take this down a little bit more. And no matter what you do, you're probably going to pour off a little bit of gold. I mean, it's just unavoidable. So, alright guys, but anyway, that's acceptable right there. That's clean ash. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to go ahead and get this ready to process and to put into Aqua Regia. I got to rinse it a couple more times, get rid of the soap, and we'll be back at you. Okay, everybody, we've got our concentrated rinsed ash from those 90 grams of chips on the burner right now with some HCl. I'm going to boil it off in there for a little while and try and remove any of the last base metals. Then we will pour that off, rinse it again, and then we will just add Aqua Regia to it and dissolve whatever gold is in there and filter it off. So I just wanted to show you that we were in the process of cleaning that stuff up right now, and we'll be back at you in a bit. Okay everybody, we are nearing the final stages of our refine. This is actually the drop from the BGA chips from the tops. Not going to be a ton of gold because I mean we only had 90 grams of them, but we still got a decent little drop. I actually just melted the two pieces of gold together, the two little buttons. I have them in this thing here, but I want to go inside to the more accurate scale and weigh them. Our pins I just took off the burner are ready to be filtered, so I'm going to go ahead and get those filtered off, get the foils off of those, add them to this jar, and then we are going to do this in Aqua Regia and dissolve our gold and do our drop, and we will be finished with this one. So let me run inside to the good scale, the more accurate scale, and I will show you where we are and what we have so far. So I'll be right back at you. Okay guys, we are inside at my little bit more accurate scale. I actually took the two little pieces of gold that were, you know, from the fingerboards, the LCD boards and the fingers and the other little junk that was in there, and I melted them together because I want to keep everything separate until, you know, our end. So what we have with that is we ended up with 0.47 grams from the boards. Now that's the one I said we should have ended up getting, you know, like 2 grams of gold out of, but we didn't. Tar that again. And then this is from our ceramic processors. So this actually came out pretty nice. We got a nice little chunk there. Let's see what we got there. And on that we got 1.30, saying 1.32 grams. Let's check it again because it was on 131 for a while. Now it's saying 1, so I think we're at 1.32 grams for the processor. See, I told you we'd end up getting more from those 5 or 6 processors than we did from all that LCD stuff. So that's 1.32. So that's where we are right now. As it stands right now, we haven't done the pins yet. I just dropped the gold from the BGA chips, so that'll be next. I'm going to filter out those pins, and we will do our pins next, and that will end this refine. So I'm really hoping that those pins pay off, because I know those BGA chips, there just wasn't, you know, there's just not a lot of them. Now also too, these are probably more along the lines of 22, 23 karat gold. You know, this one may be even a little bit less from the other boards, but color wise, I mean, they got pretty decent color. This one looks nice, but it also did not cave in, so that tells me that it's not pure. I am going to, after I get everything done, gonna melt it all together, hammer it out, and re-refine it. But right now, that's where we stand. So we are at 1.79 grams of gold. Yeah, 1.79 grams of gold. I'm just going to ballpark it. 1.79. Oh, let's see. Just call it 2,000 an ounce divided by 31.1 equals times 1.79 equals about $115 worth of gold right now. So you take a 115 divided by 4 equals, so $28 worth of that gold is mine so far, which hasn't even covered my acid. I have right now $38 worth of acid tied up in this, so I'm really hoping them pins turn out good and make it worth my while. I know we're going to get another, maybe, you know, something this size or a little less, probably half that from those BGA chips, but hopefully the pins are going to pay off. So I'm going to get back outside and get to work, and we'll be back at you guys in a bit. Okay everybody, we have made it to the end. I just want to show you, this is all of our filter papers from all of those pins. I'm going to set them up here on the burner because we may have to apply just a little bit of heat. I am going to gradually start dripping some nitric in there and creating aqua regia. We are going to have a dirty solution because there is a few filters in there that had some copper on them and some pin remnants, so it's not going to be a clean drop, which is why we're doing everything twice. Real quick, I want to show you. That's our drop from our BGA chips. It is clinging to the side here a little bit, so it's giving it an illusion that there's more in there than there is once we tap it down. But I am going to let that sit overnight. I'm not going to fool with it. It's cleared up pretty fast considering. So I mean, that's only been about 2 hours, so it's some good high quality gold in there for sure. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start dissolving these foils. I am really hoping that it makes up the difference for all this work, because still there should be, for the amount of pins we dissolved, we should have a lot more foils than we do. The modern pins just aren't cutting it anymore, and you saw that whole batch was just basically nothing. So that one coffee pot. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and get this, I'm going to run and get the tripod so that I can back off of this when I start it, and we'll be right back at you. Alrighty guys, our last ditch. I'm going to go ahead and start adding a little bit of nitric at a time. See how much of a reaction we get. I'm actually going to turn that off now. Getting a pretty quick reaction. I just got to keep an eye on it and make sure we don't go nuts. Get this little stainless steel pan emptied out and get it ready in case I got to grab that sucker and move it. Getting a pretty good reaction. I'm going to just let it go, let you guys watch it. If it goes for a while, I'll time lapse it. Otherwise, I'm just going to let it run for a minute. Okay guys, it appears our reaction is slowing quite a bit. I'm actually going to just let it sit here for a while. There's still some very slight bubbling going on. I don't see any gold or any foils, but I am going to let it sit a little while longer, and then I'll put a drop or two more nitric in it when it gets inactive, and we'll see if we get a reaction. So I'll get back at you in a few minutes. Okay everybody, our foils have dissolved. All I've got left in there is a bunch of trash. I've got this set up to filter off. I'm not going to waste your time with that. That's going to take a few minutes to do. So anyway, I'm going to filter this off, and I'll get back at you when we are ready to do the drop, because then we can finish all this stuff out tomorrow morning. So I'll be back at you in just a second. Okay guys, I have denoxed this with some urea. We've doubled our volume of water. I'm actually going to use probably more sodium metabisulfite than I need, but I don't really know what to expect out of these pins. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding this in, and maybe we'll get a good reaction that you'll be able to see. There we go. Tells me there was a decent amount of gold in it. I'm going to continue to stir, try and not hit the sides as much as I can, because every time you hit a side you're going to leave a little streak of gold. And anyway, what we're going to do is just leave this sit till tomorrow. Then I'll check the fluid to see if we have any gold left in solution. Like I said, I was just guessing on how much SMB I wanted to use. I do see a little gold coming up to the top now already. So I think I'm going to wrap this up for today. My leg is numb and on fire. I've been out here quite a lot the past few days trying to get this one done because I got another one to start. So we'll be back at you in the morning. Hey guys, look, I got company on my melting dish. That's about a pretty ass caterpillar right there. I ain't never seen one like that. I ain't touching him though, because he's got black and yellow colors, and black and yellow in nature tells you leave me alone. I don't know what he thinks he's going to do, but he's on the right crucible. He's the right color. That's my gold crucible. So I just thought I'd share him with you real quick. Well, good morning everybody. It is the next day. I came out earlier this morning and drew our fluid off of our last 2 drops. That is from the BGA chips, and this is from our pins. So I am really hoping that turns out to be a nice little chunk there. I believe this BGA chips, my end of it will bring me up to about even on the cost of materials. So my percentage of that will be my profit. If you really want to call it profit, I don't think you can call it profit time-wise. But it'll be my gold, which is why I do this. I do it for the gold, not the money. Anyhow, our pot of water's boiling up. It's time to mow the grass again, the never-ending chores of summer. So when I get this rinsed, I'm going to melt the little one, but I'll do this bigger piece, or this bigger amount. I'll actually do that on camera so you guys can see it. And then we'll tally up what we've got and do our split. So I will be back at you when we are ready to melt that one. Okay guys, we have our gold in from our pins. We're going to go ahead and get started on that. Get it melted off, go and do a final tally, and then we're going to do our re-refine, and we will be done. So I got to take my time with this because it's quite a bit, and we don't want it to pop from the water. So naturally the wind's going to start now when I'm doing the biggest one. So I'm going to just go ahead and hush because this is going to take a while, and I'll time lapse this. Okay guys, there it is. It's got some borax on it, probably about 22 karat gold. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it in the pickle pot, get this borax off of it. We didn't get a cave in, so we know it's not pure. But anyhow, I'll get this cleaned up. We'll take it inside. We'll do our final tally on the unrefined gold. Then I will melt this all together, divide the shares out, because I'll just throw mine in with my end of the year refining stuff, and then I'll remelt, you know, the cutoff from that, and re-refine the customer gold that's going to go back to the customer so that we get pure gold. But it looks like we got a nice little chunk, so let me throw it in the pickle pot and we'll get back at you in just a bit. Okay everybody, we are inside. We are going to go ahead and weigh out our finished gold. Now this still will be refined one more time, but what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to melt it together so that it's all the same carat of gold. Then I will divide it out. I will take my 25% and just, you know, cut it off of the button and put it into my end of year stuff that I have to do, and then I will hammer out what's left of the main button and re-refine it so we can get it to pure gold. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and do our weight on our BGA chips. So there's what we got. We actually got more out of that little 90 grams of BGA chips than we did out of all those LCDs and the fingerboards. So what we've got here is, I'm looking at 0.60 grams. Let's drop it in again. Tar it. 0.60. Okay, so we got 0.60 grams out of those BGA chips. Had they have not had the copper tops and they all would have been, you know, just the resin top or the plastic top, we probably would have got double that, because there's a lot of weight there that was just, you know, because of that copper. So it's always better when you get BGA chips to get the BGA chips that don't have that. You know, I mean, you take what you can get. There's still gold in them, but I mean, you know, if you can get them without their copper tops, you're, you know, going to be doing well. Alrighty, guys, here's what we've all been waiting on. There it is. It's got all the borax off of it. Let's see what she weighs. Got 9.45 grams. Take it out of here again. 944. Let's do it again. 948. Let's do it again. So we're going to call it 945 because we got several bounce arounds there. So we've got 945. So there's our final tally. This gold is approximately 22 karat thereabouts. So what I'm going to do now is I am actually going to go ahead and take all these 4 buttons back outside. I'm going to melt them together. Then I'm going to take my share out. You know, I'll cut the button and I'll take my share, my 25%. Then I will hammer out what's left of that main button after I take my share out, and then we will redissolve and re-refine that so that we can get it down to 24 karat gold, and that'll be it. So let me get back at you. In fact, I'm not going to go through all that again. You've seen me do this, you know, 100 times. There's no point in being redundant. I will show the button melt. I'll melt everything, you know, and show that, and show the main button that I'm going to take my part out of and re-refine, but I'm not going to go through that whole process again. And then I'll just take a picture of at the end of the final pure button that's being returned to the customer. So we'll get back at you in just a second when we get back outside to melt these buttons together. So we'll be right back at you. Okay, we're back outside. I'm going to go ahead and get this melted. That's the 3 littler ones and the bigger guy. And we'll see what we end up with, which we already know we got to wait. But then I'm going to take it inside and divide it out. Alrighty guys, there's our final complete button. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in the pickle pot, get rid of the borax. And then we are going to go divide her up. Alrighty everybody, here it is, all finished up. We ended up with a second refined weight of 8.3 grams. This was after I took out my end, which I actually took out before. So it is about the size of a dime and about twice as thick. Yeah, I just hammered it out so that I could mark it a little bit. Get back here so it's not blurry. But there is M's Refine. And I believe they call themselves SSEM Recycling. I will also put some close-up pictures, of this in there. But that is it, guys. We have finished it up, so I'll be moving on to the next one here in a day or so. So, thanks for watching. Everybody take care and stay safe out there, and we will see you in the next video.